You know, to say that 2020 has been a very interesting year would be an understatement. So far, I think the year has been pretty interesting. But there's also a lot more going on, isn't there? Such as protests over why theme parks aren't opening, or over why a certain place isn't opening, or why, uh, you know, social distancing isn't being practiced properly, or why one place is being allowed to open versus another place being allowed to open. For example, why things are happening a little differently in Niagara Falls as opposed to what's happening at Canada's Wonderland or at Marineland or wherever the case may be. It almost seems like these protests by themselves are a little pointless because even though it kind of gets the message across, it really isn't a very wise idea to open places that allow gatherings at such a large scale because look at it this way, case numbers in Ontario seem to be going up. Today it was, what, around 435 cases. Yesterday and the day before it was around 409. They've just been going up and up and up. Now that school's opened, there have been a few outbreaks of COVID-19 in some of the schools. There have been outbreaks in small gatherings. So the government of Ontario is having to place restrictions on people getting together once again. And I think that's happening for all the right reasons. But for a place, take Canada's Wonderland, for example, for a place like Canada's Wonderland to open up is creating even more problems than it would actually do good in the long run. And I think Wonderland and Cedar Fair, the company that owns Wonderland, is doing the right thing by not opening. Wonderland is following the direction of the government of Ontario by not opening. And although it may be making a few people angry, it also makes sense. I understand why they're not opening. And I think a lot of other people understand as well, as angry as it may make you, because even if Wonderland, for example, limits the amount of people that are allowed to come into the park on a daily basis, even if they have, let's say, a system where you have to register on a specific day to actually go to the park, even if they have something like, you have to book an appointment, kind of like making an appointment to actually visit the park, or some kind of system where they can restrict the number of people that come into the park every day. Enforcing social distancing in a place like Wonderland is almost impossible. No matter how many, how far apart you try to keep guests, you can't really force people to be apart from each other. Even if everybody's wearing a mask, you're sitting next to somebody on a ride, somebody that you don't know of. They could be carrying COVID-19. They could be asymptomatic. You don't know that. They could be spreading it to other people. And it literally just takes one person to spread it to two, spread it to five, spread it to 10, and so on and so forth. It simply just makes it worse. It simply makes a situation where we're trying to, where the, sorry, not we, but where the government of Ontario is trying to control a situation. They're trying to control a second outbreak from happening. So when that's happening, a place like Wonderland opening really doesn't make any sense. The same goes for Marineland. Same goes for any other amusement park in Ontario or around Canada that would allow large gatherings. Now I understand that some parts of Ontario are already in stage 3, some parts are in stage 4, and so on and so forth. But that's based on case numbers not being that high. But Toronto in itself, where I am, still seems to be pretty high. And Toronto seems to have the highest numbers because obviously population in Toronto is greater than other parts of Ontario. So it doesn't really make sense to open all these places up and then have to shut them down again. So to protest, you can protest all you want. It's really not going to make any difference because at the end of the day, what's happening is for the better of everyone, for the better of the people, for the better of Ontario, for the better of preventing COVID-19 from spreading. Because the fact of the matter is, we can't afford another lockdown. In Ontario, in Canada, definitely can't afford another lockdown. And unfortunately, when the weather starts getting a little bit colder, it starts getting, the days are getting shorter and so on and so forth. Unfortunately, case numbers will go up even more. We can all do our part to be careful. We can all do our part to social distance. We can all do our part to help stop the spread of COVID-19. You can do your part as well. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.